Oh, that's it. Fruity
Who?
Gaywad. Fruity Gaywad. He might be done. Doctor Who's future reportedly hangs in the balance at Disney. We've also got some figures. Now, not ratings figures. I've been doing them. We've got some monetary figures. Just real quick before we take a look. Just a quick guess from the panel. You know, how much do you think they spent on each episode of this new Doctor Who show? Bearing in mind, ladies and gents, they averaged 3.7 million viewers per episode. That's the average, anyway.
I'm going to guess more than they ever spent on any other Doctor Who.
Okay, well,
I'm gonna say,
but do
what,
you have a number in mind?
10 million an episode?
How many episodes
Is
are
that a
there?
guess or not, Nick? Is that a guess?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Okay, I'm going to guess 5 million per episode.
It's $13 million they
Oh my
spent
God,
per
I stand
episode,
corrected.
which
Wow.
I don't
That was
understand
close.
why you guess so high, because that was the budget of the final season of Game of Thrones, which was the most expensive show of all time at that point in time.
Well, the culture of today, it seems, the way you fix everything, you just throw more money at it. So it's
True,
like all these new shows coming out, like the Acolyte, 180 million,
Yeah.
really? So
Yeah,
I
fair
figured it was going to be
Fair
some stupid high number, like everything else is these days.
Fair enough. Well, it was stupidly high. $13 million they spent per episode. So just to break this down, this is our Doctor Who TV. This is an article over on Deadline. It's a really good article, actually. I covered it earlier today. But Deadline notes that Doctor Who was almost completely absent from Disney's recent upfront festivities because they did like a big panel thing. Says lack of front and center placement may spin a yarn about the series' position in the Disney priority log nearly 3 years on from the deal being struck. Now they say there's noises that it may not last beyond its initial 2 seasons are already reverberating around international TV circles. One source close to the production tells them that they feel its future hangs in the balance already. Disney, the BBC, and co-producers BBC Studios and Bad Wolf all declined Deadline's interview requests for the article, which is hilarious. Deadline goes on to say the ratings are a problem. They can talk all they like about young viewers, but they're still down from the specials and down from the Jodie Whittaker series. This source says, I imagine serious conversations are happening. Disney will want to see results. And that's an industry source. There's more than that. There's so much about this. I love it. It's great. So they talk about Parrot Analytics, but we're not going to recite this stuff because Parrot Analytics is dog shit. Parrot Analytics also just follows stuff on the internet that's hateful as well. So it's not an actual accurate metric. But they do see this. So a senior US rating source positions the figures as underwhelming, although they acknowledge that Doctor Who has long struggled attracting mainstream audiences. Apparently it's okay, but not stellar, was the simple verdict from a Disney insider about the internal view on its performance. Now, apparently a source close to Deadline, which is close to the production, believes Disney will, quote, need to make a decision on its future relationship with the show soon after the War Between the Land and the Sea Rats, which is a spin-off movie. And this could have a bearing on how long the in-demand Gaywad, who will lead a West End production of The Importance of Being Earnest at the end of this year, remains the Doctor. Although the next season has wrapped, apparently the source predicts the final episode has been left open-ended with the possibility remaining that Gaywad could regenerate into his successor if he chooses to exit. So Gaywad's agents hadn't responded to Deadline's request for comment, at that time. Apparently sources are split on the extent to which Disney pulling out will harm the show's future. It'll be dead. While it would no doubt be embarrassing, Doctor Who's mega budget increase is perhaps less noticeable on screen than first thought. One source says, positing that Disney tentpoles like The Mandalorian look far more expensive on screen, but another says it will be a disaster given that Disney has spent all of this money. The question becomes what the BBC will do if they pull out. That's kind of it, really. I mean, it's dead. Like, I've been covering this weekly. The figures are shit. What do you expect? It's looking like it's done. So I'll go to you first, Bo.
Right, well, it was news to me because I haven't watched any of the Gaywad era, nor will I watch any Gaywad Who. What was news to me is that Disney were really involved. I thought it was just a BBC thing because famously, Doctor Who has always been pretty low budget, sort of laughably low budget. It was almost part of its appeal. I'm talking back when I was a kid, like the Sylvester McCoy years, or even the reboot of it, the first few reboots of it, or even the Jodie Whittaker stuff. I did see 2 or 3 or 4 episodes of that, and it still looked really, really like ridiculously low budget because it's the BBC. And anyone who doesn't know, the BBC is funded by our the state-sponsored theft of the TV license. But they still haven't got a great deal of money to be thrown at things. Certainly not $13 million per episode of anything ever. Couldn't dream of that. So here that Disney are basically bankrolling it. But like a lot of things, finally, people in general in the West seem to be just boycotting stuff. No, we don't want our Prime Minister to be an Indian man. No, we don't want our First Minister to be a Pakistani man. No, we don't want Doctor Who to be a gay black man. Sorry, call us racist all you like. Call us bigoted
Rwanda.
all you like. We don't want Gaywad to be our doctor. Thank you. It's just it's sort of as simple as that, right? So yeah, hopefully it dies. I've said before, I think I must have said before that I was never a big Doctor Who fan. My brother was, but he's a bit older than me. He's sort of a 70s kid. I'm an 80s kid, and so he loves Doctor Who, loved Doctor Who, and but I was, like I say, grew up with Sylvester McCoy, and then a big chunk of my life there was no Doctor Who at all. So when it came out again, when they rebooted it started again. Right, I was already in my 30s or whatever, so I'm like, oh right, yeah, Doctor Who, that really low budget thing that I was never particularly into anyway. So yeah, if Doctor Who completely dies, yeah, fine, fine with me. One less vehicle for them to try and destroy the fabric of our society with. Great.
Yep, true. I would share those sentiments. Andre, I don't know if you got any thoughts on this, bud.
Well, the problem with those sentiments, though, is that then you kind of like let them win, because even if you didn't grow up with it, it's still part of British culture, which got hijacked and taken away. Like just saying. So victory for those wanting to destroy culture. They can put that in the success column. But I am very, very pleased to see that it does fail, because this is the kind of thing that should be rejected. Will there be more seasons? Again, it's Disney. I wouldn't count it out, because again, remember, everyone that's saying probably not going to be any more seasons and stuff like that, they are using sound, basic fiscal analysis. And Disney increasingly are at the point where they're going to have to start using some basic sound fiscal analysis themselves. But are they quite there yet, where they can see that we really can't do this, or this is so woke, this is so good, this is so virtuous, we cannot stop funding something this virtuous? What kind of signal effect would it send? Especially since we already cast the guy, we already paid for all of the costumes. It'll actually be more expensive for us to stop doing this now than to just fund another season. So that's fun. And like these kind of things, I don't count out another season until it is confirmed that there will be no more, because we've seen this over and over with stuff that by any kind of traditional fiscal means should have been cancelled, yet they keep on flushing other people's monies down the drain to make more, because it's just too virtuous to stop, or because there is some kind of agreement or something there that makes it an overall better proposition just to continue funding more than it does to just stop it all. So I wouldn't count out any more seasons just yet, because from their point of view, it can be like, okay, we paid 13 million per season so far, but now we have the startup cost behind us, so now we can probably cut a little bit and cut it down to 10 million per episode. Great success.
Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't count it out.
No, that's fair enough. Tom, you got anything you want to add to this? I'm asking just on the off.
I have, very little reference outside of, I think it's it's kind of hilarious that the fact that this went on Disney Plus, it opened Doctor Who up to a much broader audience, you know, on the primetime instant level than it ever had before. And they have less people watching than it ever had before, even when it was first run in, you know, the UK only or whatever. So like, I just find it hilarious that this has failed and blown up in their face so badly. The fact that they have cognitive dissonance about it across the board, though, is even more hilarious. I mean, do I think they're going to continue this? I don't know. It depends on whether or not Disney is willing to, I guess, foot the bill for that again. I don't know if they're willing to, because I mean, you guys have kind of cut them off over there, from my understanding, basically.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I don't think they will, but we shall see. I think the numbers speak for themselves. But again, that's a rational mind. So who knows? But I thought this was a funny piece of sort of content to chit chat about, something which I've been following pretty closely. Yeah, to me, it's brilliant. I love it. It's super, super funny stuff. Right. Okay. Cool. Let's move on now to